Hey guys, what's up? It's your man Pete, and we're here for a new video, and we're going to ask a very important question, and we're going to think about whether we think it's a good time to buy a condo right now. Because with all that's going on in the world and the fact that we all need to space out and physical distance, does this create a buying opportunity for condos, or are they going to be tanking severely in the short term? We'll discuss that in this video right after this. Okay, so before the pandemic struck in March of this year, 2020, Toronto real estate, including condos, was absolutely on fire, where bidding wars and bully offers became the norm, even for condo. And it sort of reached the fever pitch in the first quarter when we had pre-construction developments selling for around $1,300 to $1,400 per square foot. And resale was trading at around $1,100 to $1,200, sort of in the middle downtown core of Toronto, and even stretching up to areas like North York or Midtown. Not cheap by any standard, especially given that investor sentiment early in the year, based on surveys done by Ipsos, indicated that sellers were a little bit more inclined to sell their properties, their investments, sometime this year in 2020. You can click on the link over here to watch one of my earlier videos where I did discuss this, I think in January. But clearly the Rona has exacerbated the situation, especially in condos where there's a lot more shared space, and there's definitely a lot more shared touching areas versus living in a house. And of course, as rental prices were going up in 2019 and also in the early part of 2020, it seemed like we were poised for an epic run in prices here in Toronto. But as of right now, trying to rent for a decent price or even finding anyone at all has become a real big challenge, which is why prices are dropping in the rental market, in particular for condos. So if you have a tenant who's willing to stay, or you've just been able to rent it out to somebody new, consider yourself very, very lucky. Throw on top of that, you have those professional landlords who are renting out their units on Airbnb and generating decent return and yield. But of course, tourism and travel and mobility of people has completely dried up. So then, of course, if you can't rent out your property on Airbnb, what are you going to do? You're going to turn to the long-term rental market. Whoa. It's in rough shape too. So then all of a sudden you have a property sitting empty with nobody wanting to live there, and you've got to still continue to feed and pay for that property. And it becomes especially hard if your job has been impacted. So what other options do you have? You've got to unload your investment. So with the investor sentiment early on in the year indicating that they were more willing to sell their properties, some of them are going to be forced to sell their properties, which means adding to the already crowded inventory of condos. That's usually the risk of condo investing because there's so many units out there. But let's look at it optimistically. So if you were a potential condo buyer, this presents really good opportunities for you where you don't have to get into bidding wars. You have plenty of choice. It's like a buffet. You can choose any area. I would suggest, if you are going into condos, to buy the best quality condo in any given area. If you need help figuring that out, please feel free to reach out to us here at Selling Toronto. We'd be happy to help you. But needless to say, the market has completely changed and shifted, in particular in the condo segment. Because now you can choose the best condos in any given neighborhood that has great management, low maintenance fees, and strong builder reputation. It's very important when it comes to buying a condo to buy from a quality developer, such as Tridel, Minto, Menkes, those types of builders. And now, as of right now, prices are still holding pretty strong, but I can imagine in the next little while, as inventory continues to pile up, you're going to be able to negotiate on some of the best condos out there. And of course, that line and barrier is that $1,000 per square foot, where if the property was originally selling for, say, $1,200 a square foot, you might be able to get it for $1,100 a square foot. Or if it was selling for $1,100 a square foot, you might be able to bring it down to $1,000 or maybe even slightly under $1,000 a square foot. To me, that would present pretty good value without being able to see into the future with my crystal ball. Based on an article that I read recently from Urban Nation, developers are still very strong on the Toronto real estate market. They think long-term that things are going to recover, and on some level, they're thinking this is actually going to be just a blip, with permits for new developments actually increasing in the first quarter of 2020. But of course, with new developments, there's always the risk that things are going to be delayed and it's going to take a very long time. Even regular projects without pandemics happening take about 5 to 7 years to complete. So if we throw in this delay right now, we're looking at possibly maybe 7, maybe 9, 10 years for a project to finish selling, to construct, and for you to occupy. I think that just takes too long and it puts your money at risk for such a long time. You're better off just going into the resale market, being able to negotiate and choose what you want. It all comes down to the price. not deposit structure, guys. Don't get sucked in by the deposit structures. And then in that time, you could actually occupy or rent out the unit and then be able to acquire those gains throughout the years. Because again, at the end of the day, you always want to buy cheap. You want to buy at value. You want to buy at market value or below market value. That's how your property is going to go up in value in the medium to long term. So we got to think strategically, we got to think smartly, and we have to execute precisely. And of course, when it comes to condo buying or selling, you know who to call. We're always open and we're here for you, and we're here to give you the best expert professional advice here at Selling Toronto. And as always, don't forget to smash that like button and hit the subscribe button and share this with your friends and family. Anybody who's thinking of buying or selling, you let me know. So until next time, guys, I hope this was valuable to you, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.